I'm Sandy Lowries and welcome to the Good Girl Confessional podcast. The Good Girl Confessional podcast is proudly brought to us by WB40, Women Beyond 40 magazine. And I am really excited today to be talking to an incredible chick. Her name is Mish Wright. Mish is a writer and educator, and she is a developer of extraordinary courses, but she has had a background in both education and personal training, and she has combined both of these things to help women and personal trainers who are working with women to understand how working out during a prolapse or with those sort of health issues, it is really important to have information and to be armed with knowledge. Mish is really incredible. She, by her own admission, says she can talk about vaginas with her hands tied behind her back every day of the week. She is really brilliant, but she is incredibly knowledgeable, and today we talk about so many different things regarding women and prolapse and pelvic floor health. Please join in the studio today, Mish Wright.
Hey there! When Sandy's not interviewing kick-ass women, she's hanging out with me at Alex the Seal, a podcast about music and nostalgia. I'm Jo Pybus, and each episode, Sandy and I talk about all the songs that got us hooked up, knocked up, and broken up. Do yourself a favour and search Alex the Seal on your podcast app. Love you, Molly.
Hello, Mish, and welcome to the confessional. How are you?
Oh, I'm well, thank you, Sandy. And I have to say, I'm a big fan, so it's wonderful to be on your podcast.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm a big fan of the work that you're doing. I think you're amazing. And by the way, I'm a massive fan of those glasses you're wearing.
I have them also as sunglasses too.
Oh, they're absolutely gorgeous. Oh, you look beautiful today. So thank you so much for joining me in the confessional. I swear you don't have to tell us. Confessions are optional.
I'm a bit of an open book.
I love the work that you are doing around helping women. So what I thought we would start with is, can you share with all of our listeners your incredible career journey, where it started and where we're at now? Because it's really interesting.
Okay. Well, I currently write education. Let me start now and work backwards. It makes a bit more sense. I currently write education for the fitness professionals, fitness industry, and present and do a lot of work in that space. And I was a fitness professional for, I was a PT, having my own studio. I made it into a franchise and so worked with loads and loads of women. And before that, I was a teacher. So I've kind of come full circle. But I just have to point out that if anyone you asked anyone who I went to school with, or even in my 20s, that I was going to have a career in fitness, they would have fallen off the chair in laughter. I am the least likely person you can ever imagine. I hated sport. I still don't really get any sort of game that has a ball or a bat or anything, a uniform. I just am like missing this gene. And I was a bit of a joke in my family that in running races, I would always be battling for last place. You would more likely find me with a book and writing and pretending to be a teacher and bossing people about than you would see me in any sort of sporting environment. So that I had a career in fitness was a surprise to everyone and myself. And so, I really do write education with a clear understanding and empathetic view of what it's like about feeling anxious and about what fit people do and what they look like, and how intimidating that can be to people who aren't in the fitness industry as well. So, yeah, but I had you probably don't know this story, Sandy. I had an experience that allowed me to find the joys of exercise that since then I have never been able to give it up. So that's a good thing, giving up exercise, I mean, and making it my work. So I moved to Australia. I'm from New Zealand, but I was living in London, had my daughter over there, and I moved to Melbourne with my daughter and my husband, who's also from New Zealand. And within a year, we bought a house, we renovated it. I got pregnant with our second child, and when I was 7.5 months pregnant, he told me that he had met the love of his life 6 weeks prior and proceeded then to move out and move in with her. And so I was within a year, no family here. I knew my best friend was living here, but I really didn't have any support networks, and I was up the duff with the mortgage, and things were looking pretty grim. And it was a really, really tough time. But I had this most beautiful friend, but she was a Kiwi too, but I'd met her living in London, and she came over when Max was 6 weeks old. Like, I just had amazing kindness shown to me. She came, I picked her up from the airport, and I said to her, "How long are you staying with me?" And she said, "Oh, till I know you're on your feet." Well, she stayed with me for 6 weeks, and every day she'd say, "What are we going to do for exercise?" So we'd go for a walk, we joined the gym, we went swimming together and juggled the kids, we did gardening, and it enabled me to, I was given antidepressants, but I actually wasn't depressed. I don't think trauma was really fully understood back then, but I think I was experiencing PTSD really. And so they gave me antidepressants, which I didn't really love. And exercise was my ticket out of that whole big black, big pile of steaming shit really, that my life seemed to be in. And so as my baby grew, who I just have to say, he turned 20 last week. So,
wow.
so it's been a bit of a journey. I decided to change my career. So that's how the least likely person in fitness actually became a fitness professional, and now I teach other people about fitness. In a nutshell.
Thank you so much for sharing that story, because you're right, Mish, I actually did not know that. I honestly did not. Look, I am constantly in awe of the resilience and the strength of women. Wow. And my God, what a situation to find yourself in.
Yeah, it was tough. It was really, really tough. But yeah, the good news is that I've upgraded, Sandy. I'm a really loyal person, and I probably would have stuck in a shitty marriage, even though I didn't think it was shitty at the time, and we never really fought. It was a kind of an unusual thing. Anyway, whatever. I'm been remarried and repartnered for over 10 years. I've got another couple of kids. I didn't have to give birth to them, thank goodness. So I'm stepmother of 2 other boys, and I have the most wonderful partner now. So I've completely upgraded. So things turned out okay.
So yay. And, his loss turned out to be your gain, really. I think it's really fascinating, isn't it, when we say, that you didn't even know it was a shitty marriage, but then you find out, well, actually he's been having a fling with someone else. So, yeah, it's always a really strange thing. I know when my marriage ended, it was that real sense of believing one story and then finding out it's something completely different. It's quite fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah, and it goes to our own expectations of, for me, my whole family. There was single mothers, and this term, which I absolutely hate, and I'm happy to never hear it again. This broken family. That phrase is just so off. It's just, every time someone would say that to me, I would always rebut it and say, it's not broken. My children have a family. We have a family. We just have a different family definition from you. It's no more or no less. So, don't be telling us that. I really, it still really bugs me. But yeah, resilience. Well, what other choice do you have? You've got to just get your boots on and get in, don't you?
Well, you really do, and especially when you've got kids, looking to you for everything, and especially for you having a newborn bub. Good grief!
Yeah, it was tough.
Yes, so tough. But in that story, so many beautiful things. Your girlfriend coming to stay with you for 6 weeks and to hold that space for you and to just be there. I think that that's kind of a beautiful and extraordinary part of that very difficult journey.
I had the kindness of strangers. Some have come on to be, really good friends, and some it was just a momentary thing. But yeah, it really did shape how I see the world and kind of believe in making, deposits into the universal bank of kindness, because you just never know when you need to have, make a massive withdrawal. So yeah, I do try to be kind as much as possible. Because of that. I did get some amazing advice. I know that we're kind of going off topic, but I always tell this to people because it really made a difference for me. I had a writing gig because I've always been a writer, and I got this job and writing for an organisation in New Zealand, and my boss was coming to Melbourne, and she said, I want to come and see you. And anyway, she had a very similar experience, and her husband left her for her best friend, so she lost, the two most important people in her life. And she gave me this advice, and I give it liberally to other people. She said, get revenge by being happy. And so I bought the shoes. I had the facial. When I would weigh up things, I would say, does this bring me joy? And that was my focus. And so, if anyone's listening to this and they're going through a shitty time, which is divorce, whether your husband does something like mine did or not, it's still a really tough time. I think that is just advice that is gold.
Yeah, it's because it can be quite a catastrophic thing. I mean, for some people, separating is a very amicable and, it's never an easy uncoupling. It's never an easy thing. For me, it was quite traumatic as well, and I think for a lot of women it is. So, what beautiful advice, Mish, because I think, and the only other thing that I would probably put out there is that, hearts heal. And even though when you're stuck in the moment and it feels so traumatic and you feel like you'll never get over it, in time you actually do. And I think for me, was such an extraordinary experience of learning to be by myself, something I realized I'd never done. I'd always been surrounded by people, family, children, whatever it may be. And suddenly to have pockets of time by myself was actually something I had to learn to do, but then it became a very liberating experience.
Yeah, I completely see that. And I think, we're probably a similar age, and that we're, I felt very conditioned to be in a partnership, or to be married. Being a single parent was, I was fully aware that it held shame for, I want to say my family, because when it happened to them...
Hello, Sandy here from the Good Girl Confessional Podcast. The Good Girl Confessional Podcast is proudly brought to us by WB40, a platform for women 40, 50, 60 and beyond. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you'd like to see the rest of the video, please head over to WB40.com and subscribe to WB40 Extra. By subscribing to WB40 Extra, you're helping to support the hard-won wisdom of incredible women. So thank you. Please remember to like, share and follow.